It's time for Sunrise with Jesus.
Be sure to follow this podcast on iTunes, Google Play Music, Facebook, and YouTube. Today's Sunrise is sponsored by Sons.Training. Monday, November 13, 2017. And now, be blessed by today's rise.
Everybody has friends, and everybody likes to feel like they're a part of something. But I think for me, even after I got saved, and even the period where I was seeking the Lord, seeking the Holy Ghost, one of the things that was really big in my life was friendships. And I remember even the circumstances surrounding my salvation. It was me and a group of friends, and shortly after getting saved, we were always very close-knit, very tight, and we'd always be around each other. And for pretty much most of my Christian journey, it's always been like that, where I've always had a lot of friends around me. And so it fostered a kind of dependence in me, a kind of insecurity, where I would feel like, okay, if I'm not around my friends, or if I don't have friends to talk to, then I would be depressed, I'd lose my joy, I'd lose my peace. And it became a really, really serious thing for me. I remember even getting to the place where I, at one point, had a best friend that I was very, very close to. And she was like that type of friendship where, this person is the first person you talk to in the morning, the last person you talk to at night, like the same things, eat the same things, don't eat the same things, wear the same clothes, pretty much always at each other's house. And it was that kind of friendship. And I remember it became so much a part of my life that my relationship with God was beginning to suffer. I started to be very dependent on this person, not just in terms of, just companionship, but in terms of my joy was so heavily dependent on this person. My feeling of self-worth, or feeling any feeling of valuing myself, came from knowing that, okay, this person approved of me. And I remember how God brought that in me. There were a bunch of situations that He set up in my life that caused me to no longer be close to this person, and matter of fact, to be close to any of the friends that I was so dependent on. And I remember the turning point came for me where it was one night. I don't remember where I was going, but I was going somewhere and I was listening to music. And at that point in my life, I had gotten to the place where it seemed like every single person that I knew, that I trusted, had left or didn't really care about how I was feeling or what I was going through. Things were crazy in my family. Things were crazy just for me personally at school. And I had felt like I had no one to talk to. And at that point, there was a song that I was listening to. It's called All I Need Is You by Hillsong. And what that song did for me was I felt the love of God. I felt the joy of God. I felt like in order to ever move, or in order to ever experience peace and joy again, I would need to let God be my everything. And so my heart was broken. My heart was desperately crying out for just some love. And I remember just praying to God and say, God, from now on, you'll be my everything. And it doesn't matter who comes or who goes, but no matter what happens, I'll love you for the rest of my life. And from that night until now, I remember having many different, friends coming along, some staying, some leaving. But through it all, I can truly say that I've learned how not to depend on anyone for the love or the joy or the peace that I can only find in God. And I've found that God truly does love us, and that He truly cares about being a friend to us. And that for me was the moment that I realized that no matter what happens, no matter who comes in my life, I'm not going to rob them of the love that I give. But even if they don't love me in return, or even if I don't get what I believe I should be getting from them, I will always have a love that is beyond words, a love that is so real. And that for me is how I know that God is real and that God truly loves me. My name is Anesta Samuels, and I have overcome insecurity by the blood of the Lamb. Remember, always have your sunrise with Jesus.
If you enjoyed today's sunrise, continue to rise with us by following our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at Sunrise with Jesus. And lastly, visit our website, www.sunrisewithjesus.com. Sunrise with Jesus, as faithful as the sun.